Oh my goodness, I did not expect a 5K a location on here. That is just... What's good, everyone? It's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another Geoguessr video. Today, I've got a pretty special video because I've got a bunch of challenge maps made by pro Geoguessr players. I pretty much asked them to make the hardest 5 rounds they could for no moving. I've turned off the compass so I can't check where the sun is, and I've also turned off the Google car as well. And so we're just gonna see who's made the hardest map for me. I'm gonna have a leaderboard over the whole series to see who can actually come up with the hardest map for me, but it's not gonna be massively competitive, just a bit of fun. But I am curious if anyone can get me below 5,000, 10,000 points. Regardless, the first one here is made by Kodiak, who is of course the German representative, or one of the German representatives for the World Cup coming up in just a week and a half's time. And yeah, we're gonna check out what the map has in store for us. I expect some hard Indonesia location potentially to be hidden in here. And here is our first one, and goodness me, this is looking quite difficult. So let's see if we can actually get some countries right today. This one, I mean, it looks like we're growing some, I thought it was sugarcane or corn at first, but now I'm actually not too sure at all what this crop is. We don't know the sun direction, obviously. One thing we can do cheekily is check the copyright. It looks like it might be 2020 here. Maybe I shouldn't be checking copyright on this map. I feel like I can actually go my best without it. But you know, assuming that I was right about that, I guess like Indonesia could make sense here. I'm obviously already biased towards that, but I think Brazil is also a good option. By the way, I didn't mention it, but the challenge link will be in the description. You can play along with me. On top of that, do give the video a like, by the way. Okay, so yeah, I guess I'm between Brazil and Indonesia here. Maybe it's reverse psychology because he thinks I'll go Indonesia and it's actually just Brazil. The hill in the background almost makes me want to say that this is Brazil rather than Indo. Maybe I will go Indonesia here, indeed. But if it was, I think maybe Java is best here. You get a lot of crops in kind of northern Java. And if I was going Brazil, I would think maybe like Sao Paulo or this kind of area here. So let's see what it is. And okay, it was actually in Portugal there. Well, yeah, checking the copyright wouldn't have helped much anyway. With 3 points there, the series is going to be a lot of that. But next one here is very cool. And it's got a European vibe, although North America is still possible here. And the concrete road almost made me think Thailand is an outside possibility as well. So I'm trying to gauge how warm or cold this vegetation is. It's not exactly obvious to me how warm or cold it is. So a lot of grass growing onto the road here and everything. And the trees are really thin. It almost makes it feel like it's quite northern, or maybe it's a tropical kind of plant and that's why it's so thin. I'm not really sure which way I lean with that. You know, with the road, I actually think Thailand is a good option here. I'm struggling to place where I'd put it in Europe as well. So maybe I am thinking that Thailand is the play here. Yeah, it's just really confusing, this one. Like, looking at it more, I don't think it's North America. I do think it's between Europe and Asia here. Even still, it's kind of hard to place it in Asia. I guess Brazil is also an option here, looking at this kind of reddish soil. But honestly, the red soil makes me think that Thailand is probably the best option here, though this is a wild Thailand if it is there. And if it isn't there, I'm just really not sure at all. So let's just go somewhere out here, kind of, could be kind of, I don't know. Let's give it a go though. Will it be correct? Okay, a Taiwanese island. So getting the right continent this time at least. Definitely makes sense in hindsight. I can definitely say that. Probably with the car, the Google car could have gotten that, or at least gotten closer, but very, very difficult round there. Next one here. This is more gettable now. Maybe this is in Indonesia. I'm not so sure. It looks more like Brazil, obviously. These poles are a bit weird. What is this crop as well? Oh, it's a Mexican, like agave crop or something like that. Maybe the stuff they make tequila out of. But I don't think the rest of the round looks particularly Mexican. That's the problem here. So, wow, this is a very cool round. I think Kodiak's definitely done a good job on this map. I don't know what I particularly think here. It's like, it's very red soil, but it doesn't look like Brazil. The trees almost look African. Could this be, I'm just noticing this big blur, could this be Kenya? A really weird Kenya, generation 3 or something. See, that would seem to make some sense to me. Maybe even Uganda or something like that. So now I'm leaning that way, and it's especially these trees that alerted me to the fact that it might be that side of the world. Yeah, without looking at the car too much, I do feel like that's a good option here. These bollards being broken as well, that kind of fits, I think. So Kenya's the play here. It didn't feel like that at first, but I do think there are certain places in Kenya, yeah, where you could see this kind of coverage. And I'm just gonna go maybe out here in Wote. Let's try that. And it was Kenya there. Okay. So I think, you know, I think I was thinking Kenya already with the African trees, looking down at the car that wasn't fully hidden. Definitely helped there. Maybe Kodiak made that in mind for the bigger car script, but yeah, still a nice guess. I'll still give myself credit there. It wasn't obvious. The next one here is a rather dark road. We have a lot of bamboo here. Bamboo being out of place sometimes reminds me of Brazil, though I also thought of maybe New Zealand here, or even Hawaii as kind of options here with this very dark road. And it is a lot of bamboo here. Can we see any eucalyptus trees or anything here? I could see this being like Portugal again as well. So as you can see, I'm mentioning a lot of different continents, but I think Hawaii actually does make quite a bit of sense here. It's also the type of place you do put on hard rounds, like this is meant to be. So I think Hawaii is coming out as my top pick here. Brazil, I mean, I've mentioned 4 continents, haven't I? Brazil is quite possible. I don't think it's New Zealand, but I could see something random in Europe, like an Italian island or something as well. Let's go for you know, Oahu. That's seeming good, I think. And it was actually in Chile. Very difficult round there in Temuco. Right downtown as well, inside this national park here. So that's a really cool round. And yeah, can we eclipse 10,000? I think we're not quite there yet, right? Yeah, we can with a good guess. And I think this is North America though. It could be Europe as well, looking at around at first here. And so what do we have here? Looks like some little park signs. Probably feels more European, those. But the graveyard feels more North American, I would say. These lights feel more European. So we've got a few little mixed vibes here. This is says car, so could be English. I mean, it is English, but well, that's a North American bin, surely. So this should be, in my opinion, the UK or North America. And it's definitely interesting. Like the lights felt much more European, so maybe I could see myself going UK here. Now the question is, like, what are these trees? Because they feel quite northern. Indeed they do. So maybe this is actually lying. Maybe this is actually some English out of place. The bin as well though, very strange. This looks like it looks kind of North American in style, but that, again, this feels more European. So many conflicting clues here. I'm really not sure which way is best to go. So maybe England, after all that, is the best shout here. It is very flat. We do have English. Driving right though. Oof. Driving right. Yeah. I think we may have to switch to North America here. Crazily enough, I think it's just more likely overall. And maybe Canada for that reason. Because as I said, it felt quite north to me. Maybe Quebec or something like that here. We could try that. Drummondville. Look, it's not good, I think, but all in all, I think it is slightly more likely than Europe, and so I will hit go. And it was Iceland. Very, very difficult round there. Yeah, gettable. Honestly, I did say that the vegetation felt quite northern, but as you can see there, quite a bit further north than I thought. So 6,800 points for Kodiak there. Definitely a hard map. So here we go, Kodiak 6,801. A very good effort there. Let's head on over to Truly Buzzy's map now, which a few people have played. Let's see how we go on Buzzy's map here. And the first location here is a generic European forest, unless it's North America, but that is the 2 options here in my opinion. And so fence could be a bit North American here. I could see that. We got like, well, it's not fireweed, but it does kind of feel like more northern vegetation here in my opinion. Little fence here is interesting. Could this be Brazil even? Bit of deja vu here, I feel. This could be Mexico or... Yeah, oh, this might be a repeat location, you know. I feel like this is familiar. Mexico or US or something's going on with this fence that doesn't feel particularly European, even though to me at first it was like an easy Hungary or something like that. So, do we want to change our minds here? The forest does give me a European vibe, that's for sure. Doesn't feel typical North America, so I think I actually do want to trust Europe here. I think the fence is there on purpose. Now, I don't really know what kind of, if it's a reverse bait or just a normal bait. I think all in all, the road is thin, and the forest doesn't feel particularly North American. If it is, it's quite north, I think, quite north, somewhere up there. But okay, Hungary. Is it actually a good idea? I think it's more possible than a lot of other things I can think of, especially with this fence. So I'm going to send it in here. And okay, it was actually in Illinois there. Yes, gettable, although I would have only got 1,000 points going over here anyway. So, the fence definitely interesting. The vibes definitely European, so that's an impressive round. Although maybe that fence in the distance was too gettable for North America. I should have gone there. This one I'm immediately recognizing as Portuguese islands, I think. So we got the fir trees, like the Japanese cedars. And we have like a lot of like hydrangeas here. This should indeed be Portuguese island. Now, I was just looking at these today because I think it's this one and this one that have coverage. And I think it's this one that maybe looks more like this. It has more generation 2 anyway. So I'm going to go for that here. Now, no compass, so we can't really go for the 5K here, but why don't we go something like this? Let's go for that. And okay, it was the other one there, but picking up 4,300 points there. First, probably free round of the video so far. The one that I recognized immediately, at least. Next one here has massive Asian vibes, right? Bamboo, kind of concrete road here. Could be South America still. We can't check the angle of the sun. My first thought was probably Taiwan. But then looking at the road, maybe Philippines could make sense. Obviously, you do see those there. I could also see, and maybe this is getting a little bit unwieldy of a guess, but I kind of thought it kind of looked a bit like Chiapas, which is, yeah, I mean, if it is Chiapas, that's going to be a tough one. Oh, is that a bit of a blur peeking out from the script here? So could this be Japan as well? And that would be an interesting Japan, especially considering how like tropical it looks, right? Not typical. But I'm not going to look it down again because I don't want to have that influence my guess too much. So yeah, the vegetation certainly does make you go like somewhere in Asia here. The bamboo here. This is also a plant that's typically, like the silver fern thing, typically found a lot in Kyushu. So maybe one of these more southern islands could be the go here. I think that I would indeed go Japan here, I guess based on that. Okay, Toshima here finally has some roads that I think are good. This one's lying here, just a bit below Kyushu. Let's give it a go. Will it be correct? No, indeed not. I shouldn't have checked the blur because it baited me a bit there. Northern Cambodia there. That makes sense in hindsight. Obviously, I was thinking more this region here, so we're never going to be on the points. But still 500 points. Getting the right continent is kind of a win. Okay, is this fake Europe or real Europe? Play along. And so, I would say it's real Europe here. This definitely looks like Europe. But maybe it's much further south than I'd expect. Maybe it's like Bulgaria, or weird Bulgaria or something like that. If this was North America, I guess it would be West Coast as well. But I think this is real Europe this time. I think it's, maybe the trees are meant to look European. I mean, more North American, but I think it's Europe. Poland makes the most sense here. Belgium, also a contender here. The undergrowth is a lot. And it's kind of, it could be Russia here. Maybe that's why it's difficult, because it's somewhere all the way out in Russia. Yeah, but I guess I'd go Poland here. This is just a standard Poland round, if it's there. But I strongly suspect that it's not, and that's why it's on this map. There's already been one North American forest. I think this road is too thin. Too thin to be North American. I'm gonna say it's European. Let's go Poland indeed. And it was Russia, yes. I thought it might be. That definitely makes sense. Moscow, we could have clicked. We still pick up 2,000 points. So going into the last round here, we have Buzzy ahead by 100 points, or Kodiak winning by 100 points, but it could still be close here because I'm not sure about the country yet. It looks like Malaysia with these tiled roofs, I would say. We do have a lot of motorbikes as well, so probably Indonesia, Malaysia are feeling pretty strong here. Could this be Singapore? Ooh, because sometimes you get the strangest Singapore. That's a yellow plate, and it's parked on the left, so maybe this is a very weird Singapore. We could be looking over at Malaysia there. I could definitely see that. If it's not there, because the yellow plate would probably be more... No, it is typical of Singapore as well as Indonesia, but it could also be Batam Islands. But I want to say that this is this kind of thing where we make it to the end here. We're near like a... Could that be a scout camp? It would be a very fancy scout camp, but we're getting to some kind of place like this with a conventional woman looking across to one of these places. I want to see if I can find it. Of course, it doesn't have to be that angle. We could be over here too. Discover place. No. What about this? Yeah, okay. I think we'll go where I had it here. Even though it's probably not the 5K. In fact, definitely not, because the road's slightly wrong. I'm going to go for that. Will it be correct? Oh, wee. Now that is a good guess, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it was a scout camp. Oh my goodness. I did not expect a 5K a location on here. That is just... bonkers, boys. Bonkers. I don't know what to say there. That's insane. And there we have it. 11,907. Have to be pretty proud of that one, to be honest. I mean, we only got the country twice, but we could have gotten closer in the US. That would have been a nice one. Could have even had like 13K there, but that's a good one. Thanks, Buzzy, for that. Go subscribe to Buzzy, by the way, and let's get into the next one. Okay, here's how everything stands right now. We've got Kodiak with the winning score. And now we're on to Harriet, another YouTuber who you should go subscribe to. And he has made a map for us here. Let's see how it goes. Go play it in the description. And here we go. First round here, feeling very European, as we've said a few times on this video so far. And I still get that feeling that this is indeed Europe. Now the other possibility could be like Chile or something like that, but I think not. And is that a pole through there? That's a round pole. Surely this is not, I don't think this is going to be Japan or anything. And indeed, I don't think we saw a Japanese like blur or anything. So yeah, I am a bit conflicted here. I can definitely see a bunch of different places working, but this round pole peeking through here, I don't know if it's intentionally put there, so we think it's Europe and it ends up being like Indonesia or something like that, or Sri Lanka or something. But yeah, I would say that this is most likely to be Europe. A thin pole like that, maybe Italy could make sense here. The long outer dashes here, or long outer lines, it's not something you see too often in Italy, I think, although I think it's possible there. They don't really have dashed ones as often. I don't really think of anything better here. Maybe like Romania, but again, Romania would probably have dashed ones. So, well, they used to be dashed here. Look at that. Interesting. They used to be fairly thin dashes, if I'm right. I think I am. Maybe this is Spain then. I don't know. Round pole's not too common in Spain, so I think I'm still leaning Eastern Europe somewhere, but just like, there's not that many options here. Romania, which could make sense for the dashed line. Croatia, maybe. Italy, still possible. So maybe we could split the difference, no pun intended, and go in Croatia here. Maybe. It's a decent option, I think. Yeah, we may go like that. I think it's somewhere in this region, though. I can't shake that feeling, especially with this pole. But in before it's North America. That's a wild North America if this is there. But I suppose it's not impossible. So yeah, let's send it in Croatia here. And it was actually in very far southwestern or southeastern Bulgaria there. So not a bad score. Right region, Balkans, but all things considered, we're about as far as we could have been from the actual location in the Balkans there. And the road lines did not feel Bulgarian. I could agree with that. Okay, next one here. I mean, surely you have to think UK with these bollards. These are UK-style bollards, and it looks like it's going to be somewhere in Scotland. However, I would assume it's not Scotland because it looks like Scotland. So then I would be tempted to go Wales here because I know Harriet is a big fan of the Welsh region, of the Welsh country in the UK. Otherwise, probably like Lake District could work here. Maybe the mountains aren't quite big enough here, so maybe, what else could this be? Peak District, maybe. Yeah, it's kind of a bit more of a mild landscape. So maybe Peak District or just like Central Snowdonia or something like that here are both pretty good options to me. Maybe this one here. Oh, I'm liking this. Could it be that far south? It could be. The trees, this one does feel quite southern, but this one feels quite northern. As I said, I would definitely, playing solo, go in Scotland here. But I'm going to try this instead. And okay, it was actually an NI there, in another one of the national parks. Definitely had that vibe to it, but we got the country right, and we're already on a good score. So Kodiak needs to, well, should have an easy time defending his total so far. And, yeah, looks like it's going to be somewhere in Mexico here with the double guardrail, but it could be just USA as well. Maybe in that case, it would be somewhere in, okay, we have Mexican, we should have Spanish here. Yeah, we do. So Cacha, yeah, that feels like a Aztec influenced place name, I would say. And it's quite grassy here. So yeah, if I was picking Mexico here, I would probably be thinking of Michoacan or maybe Oaxaca or something like that here. Maybe even Chiapas or something like that as well. I'm not really sure what this is meant to be Bay for though, because I'm pretty sure that is a Mexican place name. Not that I can find it, but just in the style of the language. And the double guardrails, definitely more common there. I guess the other possibility would be Peru here. Distinct possibility is Peru. But I've just been practicing a lot of Mexico, and I feel like this landscape combined with that language means I would go there. So maybe the bait is meant to be for Brazil or something, but yeah, definitely feeling Mexico over there. So let's go Michoacan here. And it is actually, yeah, Chiapas instead. Definitely was always a possibility there. But that is a 2.5k, so we're on a 2-country streak. Didn't expect to make that happen here, but let's see if we can move it to 3. And this one is very gettable, I feel. We've got houses and everything here, so that car is Asian, and it has a short number plate, I think. Is this Hong Kong ever? Ooh, do we see? Yeah, we do see big buildings there. That makes me feel good about Hong Kong on this occasion. The vegetation almost felt like a bit Indonesian or something to me. But then a blackish number plate that's short, plus a rolling leafy green landscape, plus sky rises. I think it is Hong Kong here. I think we could beat Buzzy's score here. So let's see where could fit. Maybe like this kind of region here, looking off into maybe China here. I'm not really sure. We obviously don't know the direction here, but we have some kind of a lake next to us. So, I mean, maybe like this kind of road here. It's not out of the question, you know. We could be, you know, following along a road somewhere like this. Yeah, I don't know. I do think Hong Kong, though. So I'm going to send it in here. Oh, and it was Singapore there. Wow. Wow. There's no way. So the other one was here, and this one is here. These are so close together. I was going to say, it did feel Indonesian, the vegetation. So yeah, that was gettable. But I didn't realize that this region has such hills. Although they're the exact hills that we were looking at in the other round, so I can't really complain too much because I did know about it. Okay, and the last round here. Can we eclipse 10,000 points? To me, this is like Poland or France or something. And we have a lot of king ferns here. Very typical of southern France, but could also be in a number of other places. What about these trees in the background? Planted pine trees, it would look like. And I think Poland again is the safer send here, because the trees kind of look Polish, you know. But yeah, there's still a bunch of options. Like Netherlands could be a sleeper pick here, just because it does feel rather flat. Maybe Netherlands. Maybe this is meant to be Poland. It's actually Netherlands. Although the ferns I feel are rather uncommon. I'm still gonna try it out here. So let's see if it's where it is actually. And okay, it was actually in the UK. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest. Definitely a difficult round there, in Thetford Forest. Honestly, knowing the map maker, that might have been obvious, but we actually pull a 13,166, which is our best score so far. Okay, so that puts Kodiak solidly at the top of the episode, and we have our final map here by Wolf Trekker. Now, out of all of them, I'm expecting Wolf Trekkers to be the hardest now, because Wolf Trekker is the only map maker out of the four, and he is definitely an experienced map maker who knows a bunch of crazy locations, I'm sure. So let's find out what we get here today. I'm expecting to get like 5,000 points at most on this map, but we start off not too difficult here, I would say. This is definitely in the Soviet sphere, and I'll try not to look if we have any roof racks here or anything. But we have definitely what looks to be Russia, I would say. The number plates don't have any red on them, so presumably not anywhere over in the country of Kyrgyzstan. And the architecture here is interesting, almost like a Parisian building there, kind of funny. But I would say that this is Russia, definitely. And we have a lot of southern grass here. Like this is known to be somewhere in the south, this kind of grass within Russia. But the winter coverage, I'm not familiar with where that went in the south, especially when it's snowy like this. Typically speaking, the winter coverage was normally, the ones that look like this kind of in Verukta. When I'm saying south, I'm thinking it's down here, so I'm not really sure what that makes it here. There's also quite a lot of winter coverage out here, around like Baranal, or that kind of area here, so Novosibirsk area as well. And I don't think it particularly feels like that either. I guess the other possibility here, and I don't think I like that quite as much, but the other possibility was Donetsk, which also has, in Ukraine, which also has a lot of this kind of winterish stuff. One thing that could fit with that is that we have some kind of a round pole here. We also have Russian language here, though. The BL letter thing is more, or is Russian, I believe. So, yeah, I think I'm going to trust that this is southern. And I do not know where this winter coverage is. I really do not. So I might go like Saratov here. The fact that it's Generation 3 with snow is very confusing to me. But I may try that. It's never going to be like all the way up north, I think, with this grass. We do have birches though, yes. We can go a bit further north here. Tambov, Voronezh. I just don't know. I just don't know where that's located. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy to just send it in here. I'm missing something. I know I'm going to know it once I send it in, but I just can't think, so let's go. Where's it going to be? Ooh, not too bad. It was Saratov. Okay. I think we had it, do we have it clicked in Saratov? I don't think so, but it was definitely one of the things I was thinking in my head. Tambov's not a bad send there. 4,000 points is a great start. But okay, next one here is difficult. I think these were meant to be an NMPZ maybe, from Wolf Trekker's point of view. maybe not. I don't know. Just the fact that they started off zoomed in. And NPZ, this is a Brazilian pole though. So surely we're thinking, yeah, that it's going to be there without looking around. Could this be Portugal though? That's the other question here, because it is just a bamboo forest. Though no, I would say that this is actually Brazil. We have rubbish on the side of the road, which feels more Brazilian than Portuguese. And then, I don't know, bamboo is very common. It's very common around Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, and sometimes further south as well. Maybe even like Minas Gerais, like Belo Horizonte has it sometimes. So I would say that all in all, my favorite place to click on these types of rounds is Sao Paulo. Just it's the higher population. It also has a bit more kind of like maybe this kind of hills rather than mountains. Like I feel like Rio's a bit more mountains or flat. So yeah, I will try in Sao Paulo here. I'm not really sure how this is going to go, but I do think Brazil is easily most likely. So let's see if I'm right about that fact. And okay, it was actually a receiver there, dropping a lot of points, but still a good score. And still getting the country right, 2 for 2 here. If we can make it 5, I'd be very impressed with myself. So NMPZ here, my guess, a lot of like coconut palms here, and some kind of a tuk-tuk. Is that a umbrella roof tuk-tuk? Because that would make you go in Philippines, around here, where they have the umbrella roofs. But my vibe was like South Kalimantan kind of thing, or something in Indonesia. So let's take a look around here, see what we see. And so we have some lads here. They almost look more South American. They're quite tall, which you don't really see too often in Southeast Asia. It's one of the smallest, in terms of height, one of the smallest areas of the world. So maybe this was like, Mexico often has white lines, or maybe it could even be like Ecuador or something. That puts a spanner in the works. Like, these guys could easily still be Southeast Asian, but, or maybe they were actually Filipino. And maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but Philippines and Indonesia, I think they're literally 2 of the shortest countries in the world. So it is confusing me here that this guy is like 6 foot tall. Height meta is not often used, but on a map like this, may be necessary. Okay, if it's Mexico, which I think would be the most likely with the white lines, then you often see them in Tabasco, which this does kind of look a little bit like Tabasco, but it's surely too many palms. You don't see that many in Tabasco. And if not, the white lines normally are in the center of the country. So that makes life a little bit difficult here. And it does make me reconsider a bit of Europe here. I mean, or even like Brazil or something. I don't know. The way they were wearing their caps backwards, it feels very South American as well. That's what's like really bugging me. Like the double whammy here. We have a lot of like these Cambodian style palms, which is also making me lean Asia, so it's just very conflicting messaging here from the whole round. I think maybe if I was going south, like Latin America, then I guess maybe something in like this kind of like reservation area in Tabasco probably works the best. I really don't love it. I really don't love it. But I just don't really see where else it could be. I don't think it's Brazil all in all. I think like Colombia and Ecuador are quite unlikely. Argentina is surely impossible with this many palms, but I guess it could be all the way north. That would be interesting, actually. What about Argentina here? I don't really think I see it with this vehicle as well. This feels much more Asian or something, or like a poorer country than Argentina. I guess then the other possibilities are like here, or just like my first vibe, which is just over here, which is probably where I'd go without looking at the lads. But looking at the lads, which I have, I'm going to go in Tabasco. Let's see it. Oh my goodness, what an insane guess. That is so good. 18 kilometers away. Tabasco white lines there. I have to say, without those guys, I'm definitely going Europe, which is pretty crazy. We got a 3-country streak here. Basically a perfect score. Let's see if we can go on to make this a huge seed. And here we go. I am looking around here, and I'm not noticing much at first. This might be like a metallic pole of some kind. And we have a lot of rubbish here, so this could make sense for some Indonesia action, I could say. The road itself is quite patchy, which almost felt not quite Indonesian, I must say. What about the fence here? Do we have any like South American style fence? Nothing. Okay, so this is definitely one where I'd like to check the copyright, because it could really help, but I won't. This pole should be the biggest clue, I think. Ooh, it has like 3 big nozzles running off it. So that is interesting. Could this be like Bangladesh or something? Just because I don't recognize the pole style here. Okay, so I don't think it's an Indonesian pole. Not one that I recognize. nor do I think it's a Filipino poll. Thailand seems very unlikely to me. Taiwan is almost impossible. And then I guess we could be looking at a Bangladesh. I think it is at least. It's theoretically possible here. So I think that's my main guess so far. Kind of a weird Bangladesh. Yeah, I think that's my main guess so far. Alternatively, Mexico? No, I don't think so. I think process of elimination would make this like a really weird South America. But again, I think Asian vegetation, Asian amount of rubbish as well, I would say. So, yeah. I think that's actually my final conclusion here. That this is a hilly Bangladesh in the mountains somewhere. Maybe Chittagong area. Maybe like up here. That definitely feels like the best option here. So, or maybe up here even. I don't know how many hills you get right here. But I think I'll actually go in Sulhet. And in the hills here. Forget the country right here, I'm very impressed with myself because there's really nothing to go off of here, but I would at least give myself like a 25% chance that this is correct, so let's see it. And it was Chittagong Hills. Let's go. I can't believe it. Obviously, Wolf Tracker, I definitely think he could have made a harder one here. He's left in some clues, but this has been a really fun map, and we're 4 for 4, which is actually kind of wild. And the last one here, NPZ. I think it's actually a really interesting Argentina here based on the poles and the trees. So turning around here, does my mind change? Maybe so. A lot of olives going on here. Is that an olive tree? Maybe it's too big actually. Just similar looking leaves. And then we have the main clues here. And they look like Argentinian poles to me. I think this is northern Argentina or central Argentina. And if it's not Argentina, then it's probably all the way over in Europe, like Albania or Italy or maybe even Ukraine or something like that here. Not out of the question at all. But I think I'm kind of set in my ways here. Now, I don't see any palms, which is, what is this pink? What's the pinkness of the soil? This could also be Colombia, now that I think of it. It's very flat, which obviously does lean you away from Colombia, which is normally quite mountainous, but Colombia is actually a pretty decent second shout. I think these are just... Or could it be even a... Could it be a Malaysian style pole top? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's not, but it almost has... It bears a similarity, I must say. No, I'm going to go Argentina, which is my first NPZ thought. But I do think many continents are still possible here, very much so. And I would love to get all 5 correct, but... I just don't know if well, there's a bit of a rift here. Surely this is not actually Albania. No, I don't think so. Okay, enough waffling. Let's get in here and make the guess. It's interesting. Where do you pick? Because my first thought was like San Miguel or like even Salta. But with the lack of palms, I mean, you probably see at least some there, I feel. So maybe, I think I would go here. This could also be like a really interesting, not Mendoza, but maybe Cordoba. Or maybe even something further down. I don't know. I'm going to send here. I'm very curious. I'm very curious how close I am. I think it's either there or Europe, but it's a thin road. But I'm gonna go with my guns here and see if we're correct. Let's go. And oh, it was Serbia. Impossible Serbia. Wow. Very cool round. At least we mentioned some Albania action, some Ukraine, not too far from the actual place. But there we go. That was a 14,558. And here is the final scorecard for the video. We actually went in ascending order here, even though this list is in descending order. And yeah, we actually came up with the hardest game being Kodiaks, which was almost always like in a agricultural field, making life very difficult because you don't see any of the native plants. And then Wolf Tracker was the kindest map, probably along with Harriers there. But guys, you gotta let me know how you did. Paste your scores in the comments so I can see how I compare to you, although I'll go back and check out the links as well. And yeah, guys, big thanks to the pros for making these maps. This is a lot of fun. I'll have episode 2 coming out in not too long. And so guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, goodbye.